Hello, Reese from the Point Music Podcast thingy. Oh, you get two podcasts in 1 week, so you lucky ducks. This one was a very special one because of the fact that I get to tick another one off my list of someone that I've always wanted to have a chat with. And if you look behind me, you might have a clue. Otherwise, you would have seen it in the goddamn intro anyway. Phil Jamieson, the one and only Phil Jamieson from Grinspoon, and his solo career as well, because he's got his solo album out called Somebody Else, which is a very, very good listen. It's eclectic and it's a little bit different from what Grinspoon is, but there's still elements coming through. Anyway, he's going on tour from January through to February, and all the dates are on our website as well as his website. So, yeah, I had a few questions for him. So please, ladies and gentlemen, and people of all sorts, please do enjoy this chat with Phil Jamieson. And we're rolling. Holy shit, it is Phil Jamieson, the one and only legend. Sir, I bow down to you. Thank you for coming on this one. Good morning.
Pleasure. Thank you.
So, you're doing a big thing, taking on 19 dates on your own next year on this Nobody Else tour.
Yes.
Is this is pretty mental dates, man. You're doing like day after day. I'm looking at the dates here, and you're kicking off in Caloundra of all things in January. And
Yeah.
holy, man, hats off to you. I don't know how the fuck do you do that.
Yes, I finished in Hobart in February.
Mm.
Uh, I think, right. So basically, I'm doing Grinners starts this month, and that takes me through to January 1st. Um, I
And
think that in some ways, like whenever I released a solo record last
yeah.
year or somebody else, and I was able to tour it through July and August.
Mm.
And that was with a four-piece band, and it was great and fun and pretty hard yakka.
Mm-hmm.
And we're arriving to what I call sort of the end of that album cycle, for want of a better term. It's like a footy season or something. It's like
Yeah.
the album's touring life is coming to sort of the end of that touring. I'll be touring those songs.
Mm-hmm.
So to sort of finish it and put a pin in it, I'm just, run out and do a nobody else solo tour to sort of like, I guess, close that little chapter on that debut record and maybe rotate some songs I'm working on at the moment for the second solo record and enjoy the summer of Australia touring up and down the East Coast. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm really just one foot in front of the other at the moment. I haven't really thought about it that much, except for the logistical side, which is sort of a bit of a brain fuck. But
Mm.
yeah, I love playing. I love singing. I love doing the guitar thing. Solo is incredibly challenging, but also super rewarding.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Did you have to sort of reconfigure? Like, there's a couple of songs that I could hear easily done, like acoustically. Like Kapow actually is one of my favorite tracks on this album, and that
Thank
you
you.
could easily do
Yeah,
that. But like something like
yeah, of
like
course.
Trouble,
Yeah,
which
it's going to be tricky that one.
yeah.
So I have, yes, I thought about the arrangements of those. I want to do all 8 songs off the record.
Mm.
Trouble will be tricky. And when it says solo and acoustic, I'm not sure whether I will be playing acoustic yet. I'm still sort of working out the instrumentation.
It's yours fucking. It's yours.
And
It's your
what
show, man. Do what you want.
I know, yeah, I know. I think that somehow acoustic gets seized upon in press releases a little bit, and they're like,
Yeah, I
"Oh, it's
mean,
going to be acoustic," and it
looking at the
brings up
venues
the memories of.
Well, looking at
Hmm.
the venues they're playing, particularly like Felons in Brisbane and that's a big stage for just a little old you and acoustic strumming to people drinking beer and that.
Yeah, I am sort of. I am bringing an instrumentalist out of Melbourne called Robert Munoz,
Sick.
who is going to accompany me.
Mm.
Who's a guitarist, vocalist, bass player, producer extraordinaire. So I'm very lucky to have him to help in some ways. But yeah, it's going to work. I'm sending through Rob some audio of the set already.
Mm-hmm.
It's just working out how we're going to collaborate creatively on it to make sure everyone has a good time. Yeah, and Felons is I've been to Felons. Yeah, it's a big stage.
Yeah.
It's going to be a rowdy Saturday night in Brisbane.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll make it happen. It's not our first rodeo, so it's going to be fun.
So would you be incorporating like a couple of Grinners tracks and done in sort of acousticy style with this as well? Is this just going to, you know what, this is my show. I'm going to focus on my stuff and chuck in what I want to do.
Well, it is totally yes. That's kind of what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So within the Grinners material, yeah, like I'm not entirely sure. I will always play some of the tracks I wrote for the band
Yeah.
over the years, and yeah, I tend to stray off more in the kind of, I guess, deep cuts of Grinner's world. Been playing Hate off Need Attention for many years now in a 2/4 kind of
All
country
right.
sort of arrangement.
Yep.
So that originally was kind of a strummed, I'm going to say disarm like Smashing
Oh yeah.
Pumpkins guitar rhythm, and
Mm.
sort of a lot more Willie Nelson. So yeah, if I do British songs, they sometimes aren't necessarily overly recognizable, but you know, I wrote them, so they're fun to
But that's
play.
that's a
And
cool little
I,
Easter egg though, isn't it? When you do that, it's if people can actually pick it up. If you've done a full twisted version, I'm just going, I'm going to fuck with this crowd and completely flip something around.
yeah, I mean, 8 songs does not make a whole set list,
No.
so well, it does in some bands, but not for mine. So yeah, there's a smattering of Britain's deep cuts. I haven't figured out which ones
Mm.
yet. And then there's a bit of new material that I've been working on as well. And then I just finished this Beatles White Album tour,
Yep.
and I might do a track off that. I'm not sure yet.
Sick.
We're just working out best way forward.
So,
Yeah.
okay, going to that White Album tour. So, how did that actually come about, and what was your favorite part of doing that? Because that is, I mean, it's not my favorite Beatles album. I'm actually like a more the Sgt. Pepper's and an Abbey Road fan, but the White Album has its amazing structure to it as well. So, what brought you to doing that?
In 2009, we were approached.
Mm.
This is many moons ago. I
Mm-hmm.
was a younger man by a company called Spiritworks, who kind of existed in a world where Tim Rogers, Phil Jamieson, Chris Cheney, and Josh Pike didn't. And that
Yeah.
was in this kind of world where you sing Beatles songs with orchestras and 20-piece bands, and you are singing them for a different generation,
Mm.
from my parents' generation. So we did that in '09, and it was a huge success, and it was incredibly fun. And to be perfectly honest, I wasn't overly familiar before starting that tour with the material on the White Album,
Yep.
and then I got to know it very well. Uh, yeah, the reason it's such a fascinating piece of work, and the reason I think it works so well as a kind of theatrical piece
Yeah.
is that it's so weird. Like it goes from this kind of, I guess, rock and roll pop, and then it
Mm-hmm.
goes to avant-garde, then it goes to country, then it goes to, I don't know, just weirdness.
They just did
And
whatever
then
the
it goes
fuck they
to
wanted to do, man.
beautiful love songs, and then Helter Skelter, and
Mm.
then yeah, it's Revolution Number 9. So Piggies, there's just all this kind of stuff thrown in there that
Mm.
is, and as a undulating piece of art, it really confuses audiences, and also in the end magically entertains them. There's definitely some voodoo happening on that record,
Oh yeah.
and I was very, very lucky to be a part of it, and profoundly grateful that we get to go over and play those venues with this incredible band.
Mm.
And yeah, that was the best one we did, the last one. So we always say it's going to be the last time, and then this time was so fucking good. I'm like, oh god, we do it again. But yeah, there's something magic about that record, and Tim and I get, I guess, the majority of what you call probably the weirder songs,
Mm.
and Josh and Chris sort of look out after Blackbird and Guitar Gently Weeps and those sort
Yeah.
of I guess, mainstream hits. But yeah, I've got Honey Pie, and so it's I've got that Ringo song, the Gospel Guy. So yeah, there's some strange little Easter eggs
Yeah.
in on that record that people I think forget
Mm.
are on the record until actually go and see it live, and are confused and bewildered by the whole situation.
So bring it back to somebody else, the album. So this is if people haven't heard this album yet, it's it's very you, but I like how the fact that you've just put in a lot of sort of pop influence in there at the same time. I mean, Trouble is like, I would call that like a Trojan horse of a song, because it starts off with something like Rogue Traders at the start, and I'm sitting there going, oh yeah, okay, he's going to that, and all of a sudden the fuzz kicks in. Well, oh yeah, there's the surprise little fucking army just coming down out of nowhere, and there's that fucking rock balls, and then you go back into this other section there. Kapow, like I said, was a completely different sort of style for you, and I love this because it reminds me of, because I interviewed Cav from Eskimo Joe as well, and when he released his latest solo album, it was him going wherever the fuck he wanted to go, and there was all these little bits and pieces that I would not expect from him as well. And I really appreciate when an artist goes away from what they're known for, which is grinners, and you go and do whatever the fuck you want with this. So what brought you in and started this whole process?
Uh, what started it? That's a good question. I think I was just writing tunes. I went away in about 2018, and I got a little Airbnb out in Ellenborough, near Ellenborough Falls
Mm-hmm.
in New South Wales. And I took out with me a chap named Jordan Power, who's a friend of mine, but also a producer. And we just set up a little recording studio in this Airbnb,
Mm.
and recorded about 7 or 8 tracks there. And I'd kind of started this whole concept. It was going to be like a play, murder mystery play set in the 1870s, that had music attached to it, and was fairly ambitious to say the least.
Mm.
It was called Cold Ghosts, and it had yeah, it had this kind of, I don't know, around the turn of the century style, Wild West, mountainous regions, and you know, a girl from the north, and like, this kind of imagery. And
Mm-hmm.
I kind of presented that as a package to my management team, with art and a kind of a rough concept of what I would consider to be the story or the book of the production. They didn't like that, so but out of that recording session, Kapow was written, and it was at that stage just a 30, maybe 90-second or 2 minute song.
Mm.
And then I took it to Davey Lane, and then Davey Lane wrote sort of that keyboard synthesizer line and
Mm-hmm.
put in a middle eight. Was Davey? It just Davey Laned it,
Mm-hmm.
and it became a much more you know gutsy rock song. Evan Manel kind of played drums on it, and then it started to sort of take shape. And then I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this is fun to do, and I really enjoy singing that song to this day. And then somebody else was floating around that song, and I don't know, it just kind of all kind of sort of fell out. I actually released Kapow as an independent 7-inch just by myself, with a B-side of Rubber Band. Going to do that again with somebody else in a song called Lights On, and I was shooting a video in Melbourne for somebody else, and Wally Meany came along. Wally Thompson came along to the shoot because I was shooting in a motorcycle shop, and we were all friends. And he heard the song.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "I'll put it out," and I was like, "Oh, that sounds delightful. Thank you, Wally." Um, on Cheer Squad Records, and I said, "Well, mate, would you consider putting out more than a 7-inch? Do you want to do a 12-inch?" And so he's like, compiled a bunch of other songs together, put them all together, and lo and behold, a record was born. So yeah, from like really humble beginnings of me thinking I was going to be a playwright, writing murder
Switched it.
mysteries, it kind of went back to what I guess would be considered a safer place,
Mm.
is me not being a playwright writing murder. but hey, it's still there. So be careful what you wish
Bring
for.
it out, man.
Brisbane Festival, or whatever you are. Yeah. So that's kind of where the genesis of the whole thing
Hmm.
began. It was in Ellenborough Falls and Jordan Power, and some of those sessions still exist too. Like the original guitar from Ellenborough is on the album, and he also helped with me with Little Pickle as well, which is the closing track on the
Yeah.
record. Great with acoustic guitars, and he's just great with everything. But Jordan works a lot with Casey Chambers and Xavier Bravo.
All right.
So
Yep.
yeah, he's very very skilled at the warmth.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I just I love when people have these little sort of deep cuts and that sort of stuff laying around that they haven't unleashed. I mean, I did an interview with Sarah McLeod, and she said that she had the same thing with Jeff Martin, who's one of my heroes of all time, and they did release a song together. And she said there's a whole album there, and she actually said that she spoke to Jeff Martin not that long ago, and he was like, "We should just release it." I went, "Fuck it, bring it out." So, would you do the same thing?
Deep cuts of stuff that is unreleased. Look, I'm just trying to move. I guess it depends on where I end up with the material I'm currently writing for this second record.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm sort of I'm a bit of a fresher take on things at the moment. So yeah, I'm maneuvering a little bit. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure whether I'd go back. There's sometimes a reason why things
Yeah,
aren't released.
yeah,
And I think there's someone said once to me that sometimes you just got to write a shit song, get the good ones.
yeah.
Sometimes you got to write a song about avocados and burnt toast and chickens crossing the road to get to the fucking good ones.
I've got a
So
full
and
folder just full of just sketches sitting on my hard drive, man, and that's basically it. And one will come forward and become part of the band stuff. The rest of it just sits there, and I might use it in a remix for some fucking stupid reason or whatever like that.
right on, yeah, yeah. So I'm not, yeah. At the moment, it's all about new material and
Mm.
finding new ways to confuse people.
So, speaking as one two-wheeled enthusiast to another, because I actually ride as well. Now I don't ride with headphones on or anything, so I just want to hear just the noise of the motor and the wind. And when I'm riding, basically my head goes into apart from concentrating on where I am and doing the whole road safety shit, but basically I will start getting song sketches and shit when I'm riding because it's one of the only places where I get solitude apart from like being in the gym with headphones on that. So I know that you ride, so do you get that sort of feeling too when you're riding? Do you get like ideas for songs in your head just when you're trying to come up with a soundtrack in your head while you're riding?
Oh, yeah, yes and no. I think I never know when they come, really,
Mm, good
songs.
point.
So it's always at different sort of areas. And if I get on a motorcycle and think they're going to come, they never do. So, yeah, yeah, very occasionally. Like I often dream up big ideas as well on motorcycles. Not necessarily songs, but just concepts or
Mm,
big ideas of events or things to do or travel. Tours or who could support here or what songs we should put in the set list. So yeah, there's definitely a time to think. Um, I don't listen to music either on the motorcycle, but I do ride with an open face, so I find that
yeah.
wind noise could be some overbearing. So often I'm wearing earplugs at the best of times,
Mm,
just to knock out wind noise. But yeah, I don't know when. Like I can be doing return and earn, and
mm.
I can be recycling stuff, and songs will come. I don't really know where they come from. They just sort of somewhere, and then
They
they
just
kind of land
hit
in your
you.
lap, and you're like, oh, that's good. Yeah, yeah.
Could be doing a shit, and all of a sudden, oh, that's a fucking good riff idea. Yeah, cool, right.
Hmm.
Just weird question. What do you ride at the moment?
I have in the garage. Oh, what is there? There is a 2003 Vespa LX150, I think, 2004. I've got a Vespa Super, I think it's 2017 Vespa Super 150. And then I've got 2017 Harley Davidson FXBB. So yeah, there's three there. I did have four, and I had to get rid of one.
That's a bit of a contrast going
That
from a
one,
Vespa to a Harley, though.
yeah, I mean, I've had like what did I have before? There was Hondas. There's been Suzuki's in there. There's been a bunch of Harleys, Triumph. Yeah, I'm not particularly brand affiliated.
Yeah.
I just like the feeling of motorcycles, but often I find the Harley too. Like I've been riding a bit the Harley recently because the weather's been brilliant,
Hmm.
but it can be a little bit heavy. And a Vespa is, a delightful way to get around traffic in a maneuverability concept. So yeah, but I think yeah, I live in a perfect place for riding as well, and it's
Mm.
like the weather's been great. So the Harley has been getting a little bit of a workout recently, so that's been nice.
It's gonna be a
What
kind
are
of. I
riding now?
recently inherited a Ducati Monster.
Oh yeah, delightful.
Yeah, it had been sitting in the shed for about 3 years, so me and my old boy just basically got it up and running, and I just gotta get some new belts for it and get it registered, and away I go. But before that, I was riding an Enfield. He's got a Moto Guzzi V11 Sport, so yeah, I've been riding for a long time.
Mm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
his
lovely.
that Guzzi is just it's one of six in Australia. It's an amazing freaking bike.
Yeah,
Mm.
got an interesting engine. They've got an interesting engine. Those Guzzies.
And a
They're
different
a,
note to them
curious,
too.
a curious piece of machinery. Yeah, they're great.
Very Italian though, as in moody.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. On that, I know we've got a very limited time space with you, Phil. So I actually will wrap this up. Normally I do a half-hour thing, but like I do appreciate you coming on late because I know it's late because daylight savings is like
Oh,
9 down
it's
there.
fine. I'm just what I was just watching a bit of the hard quiz with what's his name, Tom Gleeson. He's a very
Oh,
funny man.
Tom Gleason.
I appreciate your time. It's been absolutely wonderful to chat.
Well,
It's nice to.
I do have one more question for you.
Oh yeah, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
So, like Sarah McLeod, you did the role of Saint Jimmy in American Idiot.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I did 100 shows of that. That's
100
wild.
shows. Would you reprise that role again if it was offered to you, or do any more musical theatre? Ooh, that's got you thinking.
Oh, look, that period of my life was unbelievably rewarding due to me learning so much
Mm.
about not only how that side of the industry works, but also about myself as well.
Mm.
And doing 7 shows a week or something, you're and looking at the castmates I had, who I'm still some of them very close with to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, short answer is of course yes, no doubt about it. The long answer is it's a pretty hard slog.
Mm.
I have a massive amounts of respect for the people in that gig, and also just behind the scenes as well, whether it be wardrobe or stage management or direction or LDs or choreos. It's like yeah, there's a lot going on.
Did
I had a ball, and as I said, I learned a lot. So it's been very, very, very good for me about stage stuff and all sorts of stuff I've taken from it. Short answer is yes, I'd love to do it. Long answer is I'm not a dancer, so I don't think I can do Chicago.
I don't know. I've seen some of your stage presence, man. You've got it.
Can I do tap dancing in Chicago? Probably not.
Come on.
Look, yeah, it's a great world, and it was an honor to do it. And Chris, Adelaide, myself, and Sarah, I believe would all say the same thing. It was
Mm.
a great ride. I think Sarah was absolutely unbelievable in it, and Adelaide was as well. Chris was okay.
Did you have to learn new vocal training skills for this?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like more about warm
Yeah.
ups and stuff because you've got to protect your voice and like physical, uh, sort of keeping your mind and body in check
Mm.
for I guess what would I didn't have a particularly grueling role, but yeah, it was just that kind of slog, I guess, in some ways. But yeah, it was friends for life and with cast members and back a house as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, I'd love to. I don't know whether, so Jimmy would, I think there's plenty of people out there younger than me that would be great at it. Haley Mary, perhaps,
Mm.
Amy Taylor,
Yep.
and those. So those kind of artists, I think would suit the role really well and bring a whole new audience. But yeah, if I was offered to do it again or something of that ilk, yeah, it's a real hoot. Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks, Phil. Thanks for your time. Good luck on the
Well,
tour,
thank you for
mate.
your time.
No, my pleasure.
Yes, I look forward to. Are you in the Caloundra area? Or whereabouts are you
Actually,
based?
I'm in
Or,
Caboolture, so halfway between like Caloundra and Brisbane. So more than likely, I'll probably go to the Bribie Island one because that's literally 20 minutes from me.
yeah, fuck yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Bribie Island. All right, well, thank you. Please come and say what's up if you do come to the show. Check out, get Emily to hook you up.
Oh, I will.
Thank you for your time and help promoting the tour. It's really appreciated, and yeah, it's really good to chat with a fellow motorcyclist. It doesn't happen often.
No. Hang on the line there, Phil. I'll have a quick debrief with you, man. But everyone else, do please check out Phil Jamieson's Nobody Else tour because it'll be another different side to it. So, yeah. Everyone else, adios. Done. Massive props to Phil for jumping in on that one. I really appreciate that. And, yeah. I'm not fanboying or anything, but that was pretty cool. So I do appreciate Phil James for jumping on with the podcast. And he's doing 19 dates through January through to February, starting off at Kings Beach Tavern in Caloundra and coming all the way through. And I think finishing up in Hobart in February. He's going paired back solo. Well, not solo. He's got a accompanist with him, but it's going to be acoustic ish. If you listen to the podcast, you would have noticed that. Anyway, do check out Somebody Else, the album, and do go see Phil Jamieson on tour because there's going to be something else. Thank you once again for listening to the podcast and getting all the way through it. I do appreciate your support. Thank you for supporting local music, live music, Australian music, all sorts of music. You guys are legends. Bye.